What's up? It is L.A.B. We got Madden 17 NFC team ratings. First up, we got the number 1 team in Madden 17 NFC, Carolina Panthers, with returning starting quarterback Cam Newton returning from his MVP last year. They got a top returning receiver in Calvin Benjamin. They got a top defense led by Luke Kuechly. Even though they lost Josh Norman, I expect that team to still be great. They got one of the best defensive lines in the league. That team is one of the best all-around teams in Madden. Next up, we got the Green Bay Packers, led by their quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. They also get back their top receiving target in Jordy Nelson, and they have a nice pass rushing defense, a nice overall defense led by Clay Matthews. They got a slimmer down Eddie Lacy, and they got Lambeau Field, one of the best places to play. The Green Bay Packers, a nice, maybe not my second best NFC team, but this team that's upcoming, the Seattle Seahawks. The third best NFC team in Madden 17, they got an excellent defense led by those 3 guys in the back, in Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, and Earl Thomas. They got a very good defensive line. They got an underrated quarterback in Russell Wilson. They got Thomas Rawls, who had a great year last year before he got injured, in replacing Marshawn Lynch. They got a decent offensive line, and they got 2 targets, Doug Baldwin and Jimmy Graham. Next up, we got the Arizona Cardinals, a team that is underrated in Madden, maybe not used as much. Carson Palmer is a very good quarterback, but maybe not as elite as the other guys. They got Larry Fitzgerald. They got Chandler Jones from the Patriots. They got Tyrann Mathieu. They got Patrick Peterson. Arizona Cardinals is a very good team. Next up, we got the all-arrest team, the all-suspended team, the all-weed team, the Dallas Cowboys. They got Tony Romo. They got Dez Bryant. They got Ezekiel Elliott. Their defense, they have nobody. They have nobody on their defense. Their defense is absolutely horrible. They have nobody in their defense. Their offense, and they have the best offensive line. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions. The Lions lost one of the best receivers of all time in Calvin Johnson, but look to rebound and come back this year. They got a decent quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Next up, we got the New York Giants. They got, to me, one of the best receiving tandems, even though we haven't really seen them together. I don't think we have seen them together at all. In Odell Beckham and Victor Cruz, they got one of the best quarterbacks in Madden, in Eli Manning, and a very good pass rush this year. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the best teams in Madden. No, I'm joking. They don't know. We don't know who's their quarterback. We don't know who's their running back. We don't really know much about the Philadelphia Eagles. They got Fletcher Cox. I do know that. Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints, one of the worst defenses you could ever find. They got one of the top quarterbacks in Drew Brees. They don't really have a number 1 target. They traded away Jimmy Graham 2 years ago. I don't think Marcus Colston is still there. The New Orleans Saints have one of the worst defenses, record-breaking defenses over the past couple of years. But hey, they're not that bad. They got Drew Brees. Next up, we got Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons. They got Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, a decent offensive line, a decent defensive line, a decent secondary. They don't really have a position that's overly bad, but other than Julio Jones, they don't really have anybody that really is standout. Next up, we got a team that's actually pretty low for a team that won their division last year, in the Minnesota Vikings. They got Adrian Peterson. They got Teddy Bridgewater. They got a pretty good secondary. They got a decent defensive line. They got a decent second. They're a pretty all-around good team. Next up, we got the Washington Redskins, another team that won their division, but is also pretty low on the list this year in the NFC. They got Kirk Cousins. They got Pierre Garçon. They got Deshaun Jackson. They got Josh Norman. They got D'Angelo Hall. They got a pretty good secondary. They got a pretty good pass rush. Actually, kind of surprised the Redskins are this low. Next up, we got the L.A. Rams. Rookie quarterback Todd Gurley. Great defensive line. Decent secondary. A head coach that keeps on getting extensions even though he hasn't won anything. But he got Todd Gurley though. So, Todd Gurley. That's what you gotta look forward to. Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got Jameis Winston, Mike Evans, Vincent Jackson, Gerald McCoy. Who else they got? Levante David, I think his name is. A pretty good team. Maybe not quite ready yet, but a team to look out for in the future. Next up, we got the San Francisco 49ers. Colin Kaepernick, he might not even be the starter for this team. They don't really have any wide receivers. They don't really got a defensive line. They don't really got a secondary. Reason why they're the second worst team in the NFC. Next up, we got the worst team in the NFC. You guessed it, the Chicago Bears. Jay Cutler has one of the top talents as a quarterback in the NFL, but just seems to never live up to it. So, Chicago Bears, the worst team in the NFC. Leave a comment below, subscribe. Thank you. I'm L.A.B. I'm out.